guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're here back with the kill count. Tonight we are here back with Death by Temptation. Spelled D-E-F for death. Like, weird spelling. So, don't know anything about this movie, so let's just hop in and see what's going on. See how many people die, and so be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Let's go.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Death by Temptation, released in 1990. I chose this movie for my Valentine's Day release because it's all about finding love. Finding love with a sexy succubus who's looking to feast on the blood of her dates. Her latest targets are two childhood best friends, a rural minister in training and an urban actor reuniting in New York City. The film explores themes of faith and friendship while keeping things light with its comedy and colorful with its photography. It never goes overboard into silliness either, treating its story as a serious depiction of good versus evil, and sometimes an allegory of how the AIDS virus affected the black community in the 80s. The analogies and symbolism are everywhere, but what's great about this movie is that it also works as a straightforward vampire story. It's visibly low budget, and the chopped up editing can feel nonsensical sometimes, but I appreciate the earnestness with which it was made. Everyone involved is completely dedicated. Death by Temptation was written, produced, directed by, and stars James Bond III, and is essentially the sum of his filmmaking career. Aside from a role in Spike Lee's School Days, his credits are few and minor, with no other writing or directing gigs to his name. Luckily, the novice filmmaker was smart enough to employ a very talented cast and crew. While Bond takes the lead role of a nebbish newcomer to the city, the more animated characters are played by Kadeem Hardison of A Different World fame, and Bill Nunn, the late actor most famous as Radio Raheem, and who we saw in Candyman 2 as a reverend. The titular Temptress is played by Cynthia Bond, no relation to the director, and despite a fantastic performance here, she's nowadays best known as an author, having written the 2016 novel Ruby. Behind the camera, Bond enlisted Ernest Dickerson as director of photography, and though this preceded the Bones director's own directing career, he had already proven himself as Spike Lee's cinematographer, a relationship that goes back to their film school days. It's also worth noting that this is technically the first Troma film on the Kill Count. Even though Lloyd Kaufman has called it Troma's best release, it doesn't feel like a standard Troma movie, so I'm not gonna get into the history of that company here. I'll save the Troma talk for like Toxic Avenger or some shit. Even if it's not as explicit as other Troma movies, Death by Temptation still deals with a lot of sex and murder. That's why I got a sponsor for today's episode, so I didn't have to worry about demonetization and such. While you're guarding your love life against deceptive succubi, NordVPN can guard your internet browsing against unwanted data leaks. They provide the most advanced data encryption, but with a super simple user interface, and it's available on most operating systems, including Windows, Mac OS, iOS, and Android. I love that they don't log any of your data, and that you can have borderless internet by choosing to connect from servers in over 50 countries. That means you'll never come across that annoying not available in your region screen ever again. Right now, you can get a 2-year plan at a huge discount by going to nordvpn.com/deadmeat and use code DEADMEAT to get an additional month free. They've even got a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can't go wrong. That's nordvpn.com/deadmeat. Take control of your internet experience today. Can a sexy succubus succeed in slaughter, similarly to stocky serial slayers and such? So let's find out and get to the skills. Wow, wait a minute.
So yeah, succubi that's also apparently a vampire. This is gonna be one of those films, and then again with Troma, oh boy, we're gonna be in for a wild ride, aren't we? Well, without any further ado, let's get into Death by Temptation, see how many people get sucked by the succubus. It's the best I can come up with, okay?
The movie begins with multiple James Bond credits. There's the first, second, and third. I'd say that triple hitter earns him a title card. It's happy hour at this Brooklyn bar where a nameless bartender offers advice to a recent lover.
So just get an abortion, what's the big deal?
Jesus, maybe this movie's more Troma than I thought. We're treated to an endless, unbroken take of this guy as he goes on being a nasty horn dog. After the call ends, this horn dog gets leashed by a sultry woman who's very forward. Sounds like she's gotta have it.
Why don't you let me make you a drink? at my house.
Horror movie horn dogs, man. They never question when it's just too easy. He heads to her building and marches his red-suited ass through a foggy doorway, ready to lay into some lascivious leisure that may or may not involve hot wax. And it's all about to go down here in Tommy Wiseau's bedroom. The two of them start getting sexy, him with his bulging muscles, her with a tightening belt. But before he can get to humping at her belly button, the shower turns red and she starts laughing all scary. Dude hangs dog as he tries to get away, but he's caught and killed by the woman first person, who slurps him down dead behind the door. Letting a lot of blood go to waste there, lady. You're gonna regret that later when you're hungry again. In North Carolina, a 20-year-old named Joel Garth has lived with his grandma since he was a kid, which was back when a mysterious woman, shrouded in black, seemed to be hunting after him and his minister father.
But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted.
Yeah, his minister dad, played by Sam Jackson, years before he'd recite
Where's the rest of
Ezekiel
the
25:17. We of course saw Sammy J last on the kill count, telling people to hold on to their butts in Jurassic Park. Fearful of this freaky lady feeling on his son, Minister Garth directs his fury towards her and tries to mow her down in the street, but instead gets into a car accident that kills him and Joel's unnamed mother. Don't be misled by any posters saying this movie stars Mr. Jackson. His role here is even smaller than Mr. Senior Love Daddy. Damn you, shrouded woman! Back at the...
Whoops. Also, did anyone else notice that Sam's church was completely empty except for the son and the shrouded woman? I wonder why. Did he do something to lose the congregation? I mean, if so, the church would have gotten destroyed or something. Guess he wasn't that popular, huh? I'm sorry, but it's kind of what I see. Anyone else? Anyway.
Bar in Brooklyn, a dude named Dougie fumbles trying to pick up a hottie whose friend is talking to nobody. No, look at this long shot. There's seriously nobody there. An adulterer in waiting named Norman enters the place and immediately sidles up to the temptress at the bar, though he quickly discovers her tastes are a bit outside his budget.
Do you serve Cristal here?
Bartender, more like bro-tender. Despite his reluctance to indulge her fancy tastes, she once again makes things easy.
Why don't we take this champagne back to my place, or am I being too full?
And once again, the horny man fails to recognize that it's too easy. So he takes a bottle to go and heads to her place for some shagging with a side of tasty feather. Yeah, you like that feather against your tum-tum, don't ya? Some sexy blade play leaves the woman with a midnight snack, but in the morning, Norman finds sores that didn't come from the edge of a knife.
Honey, I've given you something there's no cure for. It's gonna grow and grow until it consumes you.
Yeah, that's a cuter on Norman.
Norman complains that he should be able to have trysts without consequences, but that's a luxury no longer available in a world with HIV, or, succubi. The temptress laughs him out of her room, and before he's even left the building, he finds his new viral infection has spread to cover his entire body. After continual nightmares of the shrouded woman, Joel calls up a childhood friend named Kay. They haven't talked since Kay moved to New York to be an actor, but since Joel is feeling conflicted as he nears the completion of his minister training, Kay tells him to come visit.
My place is your place, brother. When you coming?
Seriously?
You damn Skippy.
I really
Skippy.
appreciate this.
I love how director James Bond didn't take the successful cool guy role, but rather the sheltered hometown dork. He's great at it too. Before Joel leaves for New York, his crisis of faith compels him to leave his Bible at home, a decision the temptress seems to sense from afar. Then he tells his grandma he has to explore the world before he fully commits to being a man of the cloth and excitedly heads to Fun City. At this movie's favorite bar, Dougie continues his weak game, getting a face full of water for his efforts. He's not deterred though.
In this spot here, them honeys, they be all over me, man. I'm telling you, man, they be hitting on me like a hurricane in here, man.
Good thing this
hitting
isn't
you
a
with
man
the fists,
cast, or I'd be
for sure.
tallying a bunch of mans right now.
Hey, he's a nice brother, man. I like him a lot, man. We were starting to hit it off, man, and my man stopped coming around, man.
A bunch
Five
of
of them.
mans. A quiet gay man named Jonathan is sitting by his lonesome until he's approached by another dude who tries to pick him up.
Tell me something. With all the men in this bar, am I really that obvious?
Jonathan says he's only interested in conversation, so the other guy leaves, and eventually, Jonathan wanders a bit too close to the temptress. She slips him her address and phone number and says he has a choice, then intimates that she knows he's a dude who usually goes for other dudes.
With a woman, it's much better.
She sees Kay enter the bar and hints for him to come over, which he does pretty quickly because, as always, ain't none of these dudes about to question their luck with the ladies. The woman shows a much more innocent disposition towards Kay, allowing Cynthia Bond to play a different shade of this alluring villainess. They hit it off and dance together to the sounds of a saxophone, which comes blowing at their ear holes courtesy of actual smooth jazz saxophonist Najee, who's credited as himself. Kay falls so in love with the temptress, he fantasizes about Najee nights with fresh fruit. And sock sex? Come on, man. But he can't go home with the woman tonight because Joel just got into town. And you know what they say, bros before saxophones. Kay finds Joel waiting for him at his apartment building, then brings him into his unit where he's got all sorts of memorabilia from the movies he's acted in, including a loaded gun?
Movies is one thing, but life is a whole lot tougher.
I guess it is a different world. Still, that...
You think he stole that off the sex? Or the sex? I said, you know what I mean, right? Jeez, I thought the temptress is happening to me. Ay, ay, ay. So, yeah. I'm guessing he's not getting a lot of work considering I'm pretty sure he stole that, but anyway. See how he thinks of the place.
That Uzi kind of clashes with the rest of your decor, dude.
Bachelor clocks and radios.
Yeah, like that bachelor clock, whatever the fuck that means. An underrated Bowie album later, the boys have been hanging out, and Joel expresses amazement at the size of the city and the plight of its people.
What you saw today, young brother, were victims of economics, environment, and Reaganomics.
The scenes between these two are highlights of the film. Their chemistry feels so natural. You really buy that they go way back. Kay gleefully tells Joel about the sexy lady he met the night before, describing her in a way that becomes comical when cross-cut with what she's presently doing.
She's sweet.
No one comes here without an appointment or unless I bring them here myself.
Looks like she's successfully lured Jonathan to her apartment, possibly because he's trying to convince himself he's not gay. His self-doubt leads to her dominating him in bed in a dark scene where we see she's got a scary, hairy demon hand. She then kills him by tearing him to pieces, his screams mixing with her growls as his blood splatters all over the canopy. Though Joel doesn't drink, Kay convinces him to go to the bar with him, as long as first they have a full-on makeover montage with the fancy feet. Look out! The temptress is making her feet look fancy too, through black stockings and magic. Evil magic. Later that night, the bar is a happening place, and Dougie is striking out yet again. This time by hitting on a woman who's there with Grammy-nominated R&B artist Freddie Jackson. Shortly after Kay and Joel arrive, the temptress hits on Joel and acts like she's never met Kay before, the mentirosa. The naive country boy's too smitten to notice his friend's upset, and while Kay stares daggers across the bar, Dougie warns him that the mystery woman is bad news. Back at the apartment, Joel says he's glad he got to know the lady, so Kay questions if he'd go all the way and get to know her biblically.
No, I would not.
Why?
You know that I wouldn't. It's against everything that I believe in, everything that I've been taught, everything that no, I wouldn't. Fornication is a sin.
Better keep that chastity belt locked tight, Jolio, because the temptress is whispering some insidious plans to a snake. She says that since Joel's the last of his family line, she's gonna sink her teeth into him and give him the old bloody eye. You hear that, Grandma Garth? Baby Joel gonna get the bloody eye! The temptress comes to pick up Joel for a date, and while he's out of the room, Kay notices she suffers from a severe lack of reflection. Wish this moment was shot in a more clear way. Kay's stunned into silence, so he doesn't tell Joel before they leave together. Guess he'll have to go tell Dougie instead, who's probably flirting with a woman at the bar right now.
Oh, girl, you got a nuclear butt. You know that? You got one of them explosive booties.
Yep, called. Wait, what? There's no one there. He was talking to no one. Was he
practicing? Like,
Kate tells Dougie what he saw, or didn't see, and Dougie immediately believes him, because turns out...
We're a branch of the federal government that specialize in murder under strange circumstances.
Wait, what the fuck? You're telling me nuclear butt Dougie is an undercover Fed? He's actually a Fed who believes in the supernatural, a regular Mulder, if you will, and he's been tracking the Temptress for a while now. He wants Kay's help to finally capture her, so the two of them head to a psychic named Madame Sonia, played by another popular R&B artist, Melba Moore. If you're wondering why this movie has so many musicians and cameos, it's because James Bond III made a deal with the management company Hush. Their parent company, Orpheus Productions, helped finance the film, and many of their artists, like Najee, Freddie Jackson, and Melba Moore, wound up appearing in the film. In fact, music producer Paul Lawrence, who worked with Jackson and Moore a lot, was the composer for this movie's score. Fun bit of New York City music history in this film. The whole damn thing is a nice time capsule of the place too, since it was shot on location in the Brooklyn neighborhoods of Fort Greene and Bedford-Stuyvesant. Sonia tells them the demon they're tracking is real bad news, a seducer of souls out to corrupt weak men, and she's already got a start on Joel with her legs corrupting the boy's eye contact. Why don't you tell us more, Sonia? How about with a music sting?
It's an ancient demon. And its name is temptation.
Perfect, just what I wanted. Sonia says temptation can only be destroyed if the soul she seeks to feed on remains fully committed to God. But before she can spill any more psychic beans, temptation excuses herself from Joel and hops on the psychic hotline.
Do you think I do not know that you are there?
Way to quickly and effectively get your message across, T. That psychic hotline's pretty expensive. Just ask Miss Cleo. Her date with Joel ends with a kiss, which gives his grandma Garth some premonitory nightmares. In them, she sees him go to the movie's bar, where he runs into Temptation's other victims, including Jonathan, the bartender, and at least 8 other guys who we've never seen before. They're clearly dead though, so I guess I'll count them. Especially old Spurty Hand there. Oh, and this drooly feller. Close your mouth, man. The shrouded woman, Temptation herself, is in attendance too, as is Norman, the married man who she infected during his affair. He was later shot to death by his wife for cheating on her, he tells Joel. They all invite Joel to come into the fold, but before Temptation can fold her face into the young man, Grandma Garth wakes up. Dream scene over. Kay returns home and tells Joel he's seeing a dangerous liar, but Joel blames the accusations on envy and alcohol. Kay doesn't back down and insists that Joel go back home to the Tar Heel state, while he and Dougie head to the bar and take care of business. Ha, nothing like making an almost minister cry. At the bar, Dougie tells the bartender to put a vial of holy water into the Temptress's drink. You, really gonna drug this random woman there, Chief? Yeah, okay, that's pretty fucked up, especially considering the side effects.
And when she drinks that holy water, she's gonna start slobbering and farting and gagging and shit.
She drinks it down and slobbers accordingly, but before Kay and Dougie can kill her with a holy blade of some sort, she stops them with her nebulous powers of evil laughter and scary tongue waggle waggle waggle. The dudes run away, but find their car missing, and after they senselessly split up, Dougie flags down another ride. It's the bartender, but he's possessed now, so I'll count him as dead, sure. He's not alone either, because in the back seat is, wait, evil E.T.? I'm sorry, what? That thing killed Dougie in a first person. Could we see that thing again, please? What the fuck is that ugly thing, man? Joel goes to Temptation's place, now all done up in red, and the two of them start kissing up a storm, no matter how bad Joel might be at it. And he is pretty bad. He breaks it off, probably because of how bad he is, and though she coaxes him with wine, he steadfastly refuses to imbibe. But ain't nothing gonna stop this demonic date rapist, so she mouth drugs him with a kiss full of alcohol and devilishly laughs as he passes out on her bed. Kay gets back to his apartment, and after some karate practice and a swig from a 40, that's at least 40% foam, am I right, is lured into the living room by some noise. It's the TV, where he sees himself in footage that's honestly pretty Wait, is that Joe Biden on that poster back there?
Probably.
Oh, looks like him. What the fuck? TV K ushers real K to come closer to the screen, which he really shouldn't have done, because that's when the other president in his room gets sinister.
Yeah, that's on you, Kay. You're dead.
Yep, the TV starts eating Kay in a really awesome practical effect. The blow-up Reagan laughs all the while, and when the meal is finished, TVK licks his lips. But wait a minute, TVK, did you eat that Special K too quickly? Yep, I thought so. Gotta slow down your eating, TVK, or else you won't fully digest and you'll be left with a screaming stomach. Joel wakes up in bed next to temptation, only it's his childhood bed, which is why he sees his father calling him a sinner. Thanks for the extra hit of Jackson movie, but Minister Garth's not really there to help fight off temptation. Grandma Garth is, though, having come all the way to New York just in time for a demon lady to psycho slam her against a wall. Temptation breaks Joel's wrist and gives him a good wall toss too, then strips away her humanly beauty and presents some scary fangs. Oh, what? Those fangs aren't scary enough for ya? Then how about these eyes? The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes. She floats on over to Grandma Garth and chokes her until she bleeds, but don't count Granny out just yet, cause Joel, inspired by the memories of his minister dad, crawls his little Bible butt over to a crucifix on the floor. Recommitting himself to his faith, he confronts temptation face to green face. And you know what, y'all? I think the power of Christ is compelling her. Joel gives her a hellish rebuke like a 5e warlock, which turns her into a beast as the film stock turns yellow. She blows up, and I'll count it, since she was humanoid most of the film, and to be honest, since that was friggin' awesome. Nasty things exploding in nasty ways? I mean, that's something to hug your grandma over, man. While Ernest Dickerson did a lot of this movie's special effects, including the awesome TV consumption using a rubber screen and some front projection, he had nothing to do with the climactic blowing up of the beast. Those weird shots were actually pickups filmed later by Troma founder Lloyd Kaufman. The Beast costume was reused in another Troma film too, Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD. I'm telling you, man, Troma's fucking weird. We get one final scene that shows us a demonic limo driver dropping a dude off at a club. It's Dougie, and he's the demon now, I think. That's weird. There's also a shout out to the other James Bonds, because I guess that last of the line thing was autobiographical. Damn. How many sinners wound up dead by temptation? Let's find out and get to the numbers. Sax solo.
He's actually pretty good with it, I gotta say.
17 people died in Death by Temptation, and since it was a succubus story, 15 of them were male. The only 2 women killed were Joel's mom, who was barely shown, and Temptation herself, who was like a demon. With a runtime of 95 minutes, that left us with a kill on average just about every 5.5 minutes. I'll give the Golden Chainsaw the coolest kill to K, no doubt. It's got a legitimately creepy lead up, some fantastic practical effects, a touch of humor, and a whole bunch of gore being burped all over the floor. That's what we call a full course meal. Dull Machete for lamest kill will go to Dougie, attacked by an evil alien in a cloak. And that's it. Death by Temptation came out in New Jack Swingin' in 1990, and while it did fine in theaters and got good reviews, it was apparently rejected by video stores. Lloyd Kaufman says that happened because of racism.
They wouldn't take the video. They were worried that black people would come in and burn the stores. I mean, that was literally the mindset.
I hope that now more people learn about and love this low-budget gem. Until next time, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching.
And there we go. Whew. Well, what do you guys think? Honestly, yeesh. I got nothing else to say. I mean, what else is there to say? Definitely feels like a Christian film. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Hope you enjoyed. Till next time, see ya.